Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today, I am going to be talking about the second album from Zedd, True Colors. When it comes to straight mainstream radio pop, you'll find that there are very few names that I can tolerate. David Guetta? Can't stand him. Swedish House Mafia? Can't stand him. Avicii? Can't stand him. Calvin Harris? Mostly can't stand him. But Zedd seems to be one of the exceptions to that rule. I don't really know if I'd call myself a fan of his, but by the low standards of mainstream Billboard techno pop, he's definitely one of the better ones. His production style is very satisfying to listen to, and not to mention surprisingly detailed. On one hand, Billboard techno-pop has quite a distressing lack of artists with any particular attention to detail, but also on the other hand, most of my favorite stuff from the guy is all his non-pop stuff. His debut album, Clarity, had a good handful of instrumentals where Zedd just showed off his production style, like Shave It Up, Stash, Epos, and my personal favorite, Codec. Songs like this were very glitch-heavy and somewhat IDM-inspired, and though they remind me more of Skrillex at the top of his game circa Kill Everybody than, say, the wilder antics of Aphex Twin, they're always fun to listen to. And even his poppier stuff, in my opinion, isn't that bad either. Even at his worst, see Stay the Night, he's nowhere near as insufferable as Guetta or Avicii at their worst. But there are a small handful of pop songs from his that I like too, like Hourglass, Spectrum, and yes, even Clarity, though even that one hasn't exactly grown on me with repeated listens. I'm probably going to cover his album in more detail for another video, but either way, that brings us to his sophomore album, which I've had a good several months to just toss about in my head. I think the final word is that while the album is good and not embarrassing, yeah, it's not better than Clarity. I think a big part of this is his decision to focus on more of his pop stuff than last time. Now, I'm not about to go out and call him a sellout, as his production style thankfully hasn't changed at all, but yeah, I was hoping for more along the Codec variety. Oh well, I guess it's nice to see that he's not restricting himself to the same formula over and over, but this is like Disclosure's step from Settle to Caracol, and it was a minor disappointment to me. I'll get the bad stuff out of the way first. There were more than a handful of more or less just straight pop songs here that, while catchy, don't really do much for me. For instance, I Want You to Know. It's catchy, but pretty bare bones. And there's Straight Into the Fire. That song has more to it, but isn't particularly memorable. Done With Love has some cool Daft Punk-esque vocoders, and Daisy has some nice violin sounds at the beginning. But otherwise, they don't really have much to bring me back to them. And of course, let's address the elephant in the room that is Beautiful Now. Now, judging from the iTunes previews from months ago, this song didn't sound particularly objectionable at first. I mean, it was a pop song, obviously, and the drop sounded badly mixed, with Jon Bellion's voice squished into oblivion by all the loud beats and synth chords, but it also probably had the catchiest melody on here, so what went wrong? Well, I hate to say it, but it was the lyrics. Let's listen, shall we?
I see what you're wearing, there's nothing beneath it.
Why would you know that, and why did you think it was a good idea to announce that out loud?
Forgive me for staring.
So, all you ladies out there, Jon Bellion is staring at your uncovered, inappropriate areas. Sleep well.
Forgive me for breathing.
I appreciate you're trying to backpedal, but you're only highlighting that you've screwed up. So yeah, the song completely derailed itself in the first 4 lines of the song. I mean, I know this is techno-pop, and not a genre where lyrics are supposed to matter. Not to mention I can tune out all the other lyrics on the song. I will never be able to hear this song and not think about Jon Bellion staring down people's clothes. I'm sure that wasn't what they intended to do for this song, but it still rubs me the wrong way nevertheless. Well, now that we've got all the meh and bad stuff out of the way, now let's discuss the good stuff. On the pop song front, there were more than a few songs that worked pretty well. Transmission had kind of this weird off-kilter beat, and great performances from both ex-ambassadors as well as Logic, the latter of which really makes the song stand out. The title track, True Colors, has kind of a bluesy feel to it, and a surprising focus on atmosphere. There are also 2 long extended songs that go well over the 6-minute mark, Papercut and Illusion. I prefer Papercut because it's more interesting and has more going on thanks to this cool instrumental section in the middle, though Illusion is good too. And it has this repetitive synth melody that I liked quite a bit. Papercut probably would have made for a better ending track, but Illusion works just fine. Finally though, the glitchier Zedd I like shows up on 2 tracks. Slightly disappointing, I know, but we get what we get. Bumblebee with Botneck is awfully short, but it's definitely a fun track and leaves an impression despite its length. Makes for some much needed variety. But the real standout on this album has to be the opener, Addicted to a Memory. This song is like a showcase for all of Zedd's strengths. The build-up section is of the usual pop stuff found on most of this album, and not to mention one of the catchiest tracks on here. But also the drop is very glitchy and choppy, like his shave it up and codec kind of stuff. But the song really gets fantastic after the second drop, where instead of just cutting off, where most of his peers would, he just goes on a big, spectacular, extended breakdown, with lots of bright and colorful synth melodies. But even after he's done showing off his production talents, he lets one of the synth melodies keep going for a little, ending the track on a quieter note. And at the end, all I can say is, why the bloody hell didn't we get more of this stuff on this album? Look, I mean, Zedd's pop stuff isn't as insufferable as I've seen some people make it out to be. The guy's definitely a talented producer, and this album had its fair share of great melodies, even on some of the songs I didn't really care for. But this is kind of a frustrating album to listen to, because I know he can do better. I really wanted to like this album more than I actually do, and repeat listens have not been helping, so I'll just have to leave it at being a minor disappointment. It had its moments, but I'll probably just stick to Clarity if I'm in the mood for this stuff. Overall, I'm feeling a solid 7 out of 10. Favorite tracks, Addicted to a Memory, Transmission, True Colors, Papercut, Bumblebee, and Illusion. Least favorite track, gonna be brutally honest, I'm gonna go with Beautiful Now. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it. Leave the comments in the comment thing down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.